Hey, it's Arfon with Grow Automate Scale, and welcome back to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show, the show where I bring you guest experts, tips, strategies, and just takeaways from my experience running Facebook ads, generating millions of dollars of sales for our clients with six-figure launches, group programs, one-on-one offers, you name it. And today I wanted to really just talk about the opportunity with Facebook with paid traffic, not just Facebook, because this is going to be applied to LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, TikTok, wherever you go. My expertise is with Facebook and Instagram traffic. It's a great platform. There's 2.9 billion users across the world and just about 10 or 11 million advertisers. So you can see there's a huge gap there. And this is what I want to talk about, the opportunity. When we see that there are so many users and in proportion to advertisers, it's 10, 11 is a very, very small portion of the actual entire user base on Facebook and Instagram. This gives us a really great opportunity because there's a lot of supply, meaning that there's a lot of space to actually buy advertising. Now, I know if you're on your news feed, it may not feel like that because you're seeing a bunch of ads with the video ads and newsfeed ads and all about your stories, your reels, wherever you are, you see a bunch of ads, and it may not necessarily feel like there's a huge opportunity. But the reality is that when you're advertising on Facebook, depending on the route you take, depending on how you actually set up and structure your campaign, it can cost you a few dollars to 20, 30, 40 bucks just to reach your ideal client 1,000 impressions, right? So to get your ad to show 1,000 times, it really doesn't cost as much as we think. So when I talk to a lot of coaches, those who are not even new to the business, but just been doing it organically for 1, 2, or 3 years, who they don't really have the understanding. No one's really taught them how. They haven't really messed around with advertising at a great level. And it could feel like in order to generate results, you need to have this huge, massive budget, high four figures, high five figures a month budget. And the reality is that even at the beginning or the early phases, wherever you are, if you're already generating six figures and you're looking now, hey, how do I scale? How do I take this from $150,000 a year business to $250,000 a year business without adding more time into doing things organically, right? Because that's one of the biggest things is that a lot of us, we came into online business because we wanted more time freedom. We wanted to make a better living. We wanted to spend more time with our family, more quality time. We want to do the things that we enjoy doing, to travel, to take downtime, to meditate, to read, to pray. The list can go on and on. Each of us have a different reason why, but a lot of the time it comes down to time freedom, the autonomy to do the things that we want to do without someone dictating when and how we can do it. So now a lot of coaches I come across are in that position where they're doing so much organically to keep the business running, to keep things going, that they cannot actually get to enjoy the things that they want to do because they're already putting 40, 50 hours plus a week into their business, and there's not a whole lot of time left. It's a big job that they've created for themselves. They love it, it's fulfilling, and it's awesome. However, they know that there's something at the end of the tunnel that they still want. And this is one of the big opportunities that I come across and I help a lot of clients with is how can we increase your result while decreasing the amount of effort and energy you put in. So I'll give an example. One of my clients, she is in health and wellness. She teaches those who have been at it for a while how to really set their macros and how to get the best results in the gym. So a lot of those who are at the C levels or executives or professionals who've been at it for a while, they're healthy, they work out, but they're just not kind of meeting these needs and these goals. So prior to coming to me, she was running her launches for about 8 weeks open cart. She would open the cart for 8 weeks, daily selling through the DMs, sending emails, and just really the super long open window. And I was like, okay, hang on, we're going to change that right away. Because one of our goals was to, how can I get results, even as the same results, without having to be on social media as much? Because her time was totally taken from client fulfillment and also producing all this content, which, social media, you put a content up and it kind of vanishes after about 24 to 48 hours. Like, you may get some engagement here and there, but after a while, it's just like you don't really hear much about that at all. You may get a big boost in it, then it kind of fizzles off. And there's some things that go viral who will last a little longer, but eventually it just kind of fizzles down, and that's just unfortunately the part of social media. So when she came to me, she wanted a different structure. So our approach is more simple. Typically, it's like a 17-day window from when you start to end. And when I told her this, she was like, okay, that sounds crazy, but she's willing to give it a shot. And we implemented this to the point where for each one of her offers, after we first did it, she saw, oh my gosh, like she was able to not have to do any of the social media stuff. And the results were identical to what she was doing over 8 weeks. We accomplished in 17 days. And it's a simple process of, the same offer, the same thing. Is just building a place to sell to everybody at once versus trying to sell to one person here and there. Program price was the same. Everything was the same. The biggest difference is we implemented a strategy to help her to convert more. Now, she loved it so much that every single one of her offer, she implemented the same thing and developed. And we used the webinar strategy. So she developed a webinar for each one of her offers. Every single offer now, instead of doing 6 weeks, 8 weeks of open window, they're all 2 to 3 weeks at a time, to where we generate leads. They get on a live training, and afterwards we retarget them with ads. And her presence on social is still there. However, it's nowhere near as much as it was before. And her team now can just produce the regular content, static images, things like that, versus needing her to be on as much. And I share this because I just want to highlight the opportunity in that what Facebook advertising really allows us to do is now get our time back while allowing us to scale. Because if you want to reach a bigger audience, you can look at your stats and you can look at night and day and look at your reach. And in order to get more reach, you got to produce more and more content. And it's not 100% guaranteed. Of course, now I firmly believe that your organic efforts will amplify your paid efforts. And you do need to do things organically to figure out, what converts well, what are the pain points, what are the challenges that the audience is facing in order to really just have better conversions with advertising. But the opportunity that's there is really just the opportunity to get back time, to free up the time. And it is a trial and error. It is a testing process. Not everybody on their very first masterclass, challenge, webinar, or live event, for lack of a better word, not everybody on their live event is going to crush it. Sometimes it may take 2, 3, or 4 times. But my mentor told me something, and it really sparked something in me. He said that one good webinar can change the trajectory of your business. And I've seen this so many times over and over again, where we run a webinar, we get a few hits, the show up rate maybe 10, 15%, we get a conversion, we get an ROI. It's not a huge ROI, but we do it again, we tweak, we optimize, and boom, the same thing now goes from a 3x return to a 5x to like 8, 10x, because it's continuously improving it, and it changes the trajectory of the business. Because now, instead of trying to hammer and trying to figure out like, hey, let me work a bunch of Facebook groups, let me get in a bunch of people DM on Instagram, doing a bunch of different lives every single day, multiple times a week, and not really seeing a huge traction because we're just converting a handful of people, and it takes a lot of time and effort. Now we're able to get a lot of people to one event, 2 event, and convert them at a greater level. And now we're all of a sudden having these multiple 6-figure weeks, right? Because we're open card for a week, and we have a group program that may last 3, 4 to 6 months or a year, whatever the case is. But we fill up this cohort in a way that's predictable, in a way that's also scalable. So it's a really big opportunity. And yes, there is a figuring out process. So if you're brand new, you're like, hey, I've never ran ads before, generating less than 6 figures in my business, advertising may not be the best place to go. It may be a good source of lead generation to build up your leads, that you can work continuously to get the conversions, to invest back into the business. But running like a big launch or something like that, where you're doing a 5 a five-figure budget. That's typically what it takes. It takes a high four to a five-figure budget to have something that's going to generate a multiple six-figure. But at the beginning, you may not need to do a multiple six-figure launch. What would an extra 10,000, 15, or 20,000 do for your business? And that could be as simple as leveraging your existing organic audience, something you're already doing organically, and adding another $1,000, $1,500, or $2,000 to ad spend, something that's more reasonable, even if it's $500. By the very, very first launch we ever ran, we ended up, and this was a different time, so obviously the money is gonna sound low compared to now, because different timing. Advertising costs were cheaper 5-6 years ago, but we ended up spending $300 on ads and generated close to 160 leads. Now, different time, of course. Now, I have clients that still do that depending on the niche, but the chances are it's very slim and very rare for that to happen. So I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but understanding that even if you do put 400 or 500 into a campaign, if you have that fund from profit first, you want to generate sales before we do that, or if you have a job that's it's pretty decent, you have a good salary, and you're able to invest into it. Because again, if you're working a job and you're trying to transition from employee to entrepreneur, you have to also think about, how do I leverage my resources? And that was one of the things that we did. While I was working, we had ads running, so that way we were generating leads. And that's one of the big opportunities with Facebook, is really to use it as a way to start adding fuel to the fire that you have burning organically, and you tweak and you optimize and you scale from there. I recommend everyone really learn advertising, learn the basics of it. Have a VA you can train before you even hire a big marketing agency like myself, right? Before I work with clients, I want them to have an understanding of ads, because it's often where, there's a lot of honesty in how I operate my business. And the truth is that success is not guaranteed. It may take 2 or 3 webinars. Every client works differently live. If you've never done live sales before, you may want to practice organically before you go into paid traffic. Or even if you do decide to put like an extra 150 and you generate 20, 30 leads, that's still fine. Because guess what? If 5 to 10 people show up and you convert 1 or 2 of those, or if you convert none of them, the practice is so powerful, and it's a huge opportunity, and it's something that goes along with having an experiment mentality. And when you understand, hey, I can experiment with this, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm going to be broke, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, but I'm going to invest into learning, I'm going to invest into applying a proven process that will help me to increase my return back and significantly increase your return back. When I'm talking about a 10% increase, we're talking about massive increases where you can put 5 to 1,000, depending on the program price you have, depending on how you generate leads. But the learning process there alone, when you lock it in, now one campaign will more than make up for all the time you took to learn and help you to scale at a greater level. So I wanted to share that because I believe that is a huge opportunity that's often missed, because it's something that is not really talked a lot about. It can come off as something that is slimy or shady, or is not really real, or it can only work for certain other people. But I truly believe that if everyone gives it the time and the attention it needs, that they will see amazing results eventually. And not even eventually, it's really just being strategic with it, knowing that as experiment, you're going to tweak and test, and you're going to look at the data to make educated decisions so you can generate more positive results. So I want to share that today. If you're thinking about it, if you're really like, hey, I need to figure out a way to scale, and I'm generating $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in my business, and I want to get it to the 10K. I want to be able to put that 2 weeks in, to quit the job, to maybe we want to retire a spouse, like my spouse retired me, or something like that. There's lots of different ways, lots of different whys that to consider that, how are you generating leads, and what are the ways you're leveraging the resources you have and the opportunities available. So with that being said, my name is Arfan. We're owner of Grow, Automate, Scale, where we help coaches leverage the power of Facebook ads so they can add more leads to their pipeline, connect with their ideal clients, and increase their impact and income. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to share this episode with someone you think might be helpful, and also subscribe to the channel for more upcoming content. Some expert interviews will be coming up too as well. In addition to that, also turn on notifications so you get notified when new when new episodes come out. And lastly, visit growautomatescale.com to connect more with me and learn more about how we can potentially help you in your business to leverage Facebook ads. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.